Thank you. Thank you.
Excuse me. All right. And we are live, family. Welcome to another show. Today, I have a good friend of mine, Danny Dixon, coming from you live from China, right?
Yeah, Chengdu, China.
Excellent. Excellent. It's crazy, man, because I'm in Thailand, you in China, two brothers in Asia. Because we thought we had to do some time difference, but it ended up being that China is only an hour ahead of Thailand.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man, most definitely, man. Well, welcome to the show. We have a very good show today, man. I know a lot of guys are actually interested in moving abroad, and one of the main concerns is, well, how I'm gonna get income. And you got
Mm,
guys. Most of the guys I run into are like maybe IT guys or retired military or active military.
mm,
But today we're going to discuss actually teaching English overseas.
mm. Yeah, yeah. Definitely, definitely.
Great, great, great. So let's start from the very beginning. How long have you been living abroad?
So like I come from a military family. So
Hmm.
when I was a kid, I was born in South Carolina, and then
Hmm.
my mom brought me with her to Germany when I was like 2 years old. So like from the
Hmm.
age of 2 to 6, I lived overseas in Germany for about 4 years. And then we came back to America. I lived with my grandma for a while in Arkansas, and then we moved to Georgia. Like you and I
Hmm.
are both from Georgia, so it was like
Sir.
I was in Fort Stewart for a while because that's where they have the military base at in Fort Stewart, Georgia. And then we
Hmm.
moved to Macon, Georgia. And yeah, I left
Shout
America
shout out to
again.
Macon.
Yeah, Macon, Georgia. And I left America again at the age of 22. So I've been
Hmm.
overseas for about at least 13, going on 14 years now.
Wow. And the first country you went to was China.
The first country I went to was South Korea.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. Excellent, man. So that is a big adjustment, man. Have you had any? Have you missed America any type of form of fashion, or you pretty much have been adjusted?
I mean, pretty much the only thing I miss about America is like, Popeye's chicken. Like that was like my
Right,
that was my
right,
favorite restaurant, like I'm from
right.
Popeye's chicken and Church's chicken. Like I like those
Hmm.
were my favorite places. So we
Hmm.
don't have any like suitable replacements for those in Asia, not as far as I've seen. So yeah, I just really miss that southern fried chicken, honestly.
You know what's funny, man? It's a brother just opened up. Now he's been open up for about 7 months now out here in Pattaya. He has a soul food restaurant, and I was telling him I did an interview with him a couple of days ago. I was telling him I said, brother, the only thing I've been missing from America besides my family is the food,
Mm.
like the
No,
the
yeah,
soul
yeah.
food. Like every now and then, I got at least once or twice a month. I need some soul food. So I definitely understand that, man. That's one of the things you're definitely gonna miss is the food.
Yeah, yeah, man. The food. I mean, Chinese food is amazing. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, the
Hmm.
food here is like very amazing. It's convenient. Like, I go out in the street and I'm
Hmm.
surrounded by, basically food carts. We call them Lubianton, but basically like they're food trucks, like little food carts on the side of the road. There's so many of them, and it's like you
Hmm.
got your choice of like so much stuff to eat here. It's crazy. But
Hmm.
I just have my favorites that I grew up with, so that's how it is.
Okay, okay. And how long have you been teaching English overseas?
So I left America in 2014. So like it's been about going on 9 years now. Like
Mhm.
1 year in South Korea and going on 8 years in China.
Okay. So how difficult is it to do you have to obtain some type of special certificates or you have to have a certain degree? How would you go about teaching English overseas in China?
I mean, here's the funny thing, y'all. Like my background is not related to teaching at all. Like my
Hmm.
background is industrial engineering. So I have
Hmm.
a degree in industrial engineering. And but I tell guys, here's the thing. There are a lot of countries where you don't need a degree to go teach English. And I really want to
Hmm.
pound that in today. I really want to hammer that in today because a
Hmm.
lot of guys think like, oh, I need certifications or I
Hmm.
need a university degree, college degree to go make money overseas. And honestly, you don't.
Hmm.
It you have like to break it down, like you have more choices. Like I have a university degree, so I have more choices, but there's still like a lot of countries where like you don't need all you need to do is like be from America and like they'll hire you like on the spot, you know.
Okay, okay. Now, when you put in this, application process, do they set you up with living expenses? Do they set you up with an apartment, or do you have to do all that yourself?
Okay, so for my first job in South Korea, I got my
Mm-hmm.
job through a recruiter. And
Mm-hmm.
a recruiter is okay. Like if you're new to this industry and you want someone else to do the job for you, they'll send you jobs. But
Mm-hmm.
honestly, like I prefer like just going out to schools myself, like contacting them myself, saying, "Hey, like I'm a foreigner, like I'm really looking forward. I've been to this country before, or I really like the culture here. Um, are you guys looking for teachers kind of thing?" That's what I would like to that's the way I like to go about things. In terms of getting you set up, my first few jobs they did that. So South
Mm-hmm.
Korea, they set me up with an apartment, they helped me set up my bank account, they even got my plane tickets. For China, uh, my first job, they set me up with like a really nice apartment on campus, like huge apartment, like crazy, like they treated me really well. Um, a lot of these schools they treat you really well, especially like because they need you. Like one thing I want to hammer in for guys,
Mm-hmm.
like the English teaching market is
Mm-hmm.
big, and it's like the
Mm-hmm.
demand is way higher than the supply. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's one thing guys need to understand. Like especially in a country like China, the demand is too high. Like it's so high that they hire people who aren't even native English speakers. Like you got Russians and Indian people, Bangladesh people over here teaching English because they can't
Mm-hmm.
find enough like Americans or people from like English speaking countries to come work over here. Like, so it's like, you can negotiate a really good deal for yourself. You can like say, hey, you guys got to provide me like a housing stipend. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to work on these days. And, I only want to work with these types of students. Like you have a lot of bargaining power.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay. And as far as the cost of living in China, is it really expensive? Is it moderate?
Okay. So this is really interesting. Like, okay, Shanghai is super expensive.
Hmm.
Shanghai is like crazy expensive. You got to work, but in Shanghai, it's like work hard, play hard. So you can make jobs, you can get a job and make enough money, but you're gonna be working pretty hard. But you also can party pretty hard.
Hmm.
My city, like I heard someone say about Thailand, like someone said like to live a good life in Thailand, you need like $1,000 a month or something. Or I've even heard like 1,500 or something, depending
Hmm.
on
Hmm.
your lifestyle,
Facts.
right?
Right.
Um, in my city, in China. I live in Chengdu, which is in the Sichuan province, the southern part of China. And I
Hmm.
did the calculation, like my apartment is like what? It's like a few $100s a month, like 350, maybe 450. And like the
Okay.
food here is so cheap. So like honestly, and my apartment is right in the city center. I'm right next
Hmm.
to like the most expensive shopping area. And like I got one bedroom, one kitchen, bathroom. It's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. And honestly, even with an expensive apartment, like my apartment is relatively expensive compared to a lot of other apartments in my city. I can live on like $800, less than $800 a month. Honestly, I can live on like probably
Hmm.
600, $700 a month if I'm like, especially if I'm cooking, if I'm not like going out to the bar buying drinks. Like you can live really good here for pretty cheap, cheaper than Thailand, I think, based off what I heard.
Wow, that's amazing. I did not know that, man. That is amazing. And as far as the safety out there, is it pretty safe?
Yeah, it's crazy safe. Like, even with all like the crazy lockdown stuff going on, like, here's the thing
Hmm.
about Asia, guys. Like, for all the people listening, they
Hmm.
set up society so that things will work. Like, you will survive if you just follow the rules in Asia. That's how Asian societies are set up. They set it up so like the majority of people, if you like follow the rules, like you get a job, if you just like don't commit any crimes, you're probably gonna survive. So
Hmm.
like that's kind of different from where I grew up at, where like you got to worry about like getting caught up in a fight or like some kind of
Facts.
craziness, like like. like
Facts.
my safety is never an issue here. Like, especially like us as black men. Like, as black
Hmm.
men, we are stronger. We're bigger and stronger than like 99% of like Asian guys. So like, you don't really
Hmm.
have to worry about like, getting beat up here. Like, it's like not a non-issue. Your safety is like, it's so great here. Like, you can go out 3 o'clock, 4 a.m. at night, 5 a.m. You don't have to
Hmm.
worry about anything.
That's very true, man. It's funny because before I came to Thailand, I really didn't know what it felt like to live within a safe society, right? Because America is not that safe. Then I went from America to Colombia to Brazil. Then I come here, and I'm still moving around. Like I've been moving around for years because you grow up within. Okay, I can't go here, can't go there. I gotta watch this guy. I gotta watch this guy. But now it's just like, wow, I can really kind of relax. Like nobody's, on that type of time out here. And it's a very beautiful thing. And that's why it's so many other benefits to traveling and going to different countries and seeing how different societies work. And that's why I try to explain to people like, bro, it's not what you think. People like to get caught up in, oh, the women and you're doing this for the women. I'm like, bro, it's so much more than just
Yeah.
traveling for women, and I try to put that out there, like, man, traveling around the world, especially as like you mentioned, a black man, it's really about having a peace of mind. Like,
Yeah.
being able to walk to the store into the ATM 3-4 o'clock in the morning and walk back without having an issue, man. And I think a lot of
Yeah.
brothers deserve that.
Yeah, yeah. It's like it's crazy. Like when you over here, like the amount of stress I used to have, like when I was in America, like I think I'm kind of a paranoid person, but like for
Hmm.
people like
Hmm.
me, safety is really important. And
Hmm.
you would come over here to Asia, it's like you don't have to worry about anything really. Just look both ways before you cross the street. Like maybe look both ways twice because they
Hmm.
drive kind of crazy over here. But other
Hmm.
than that, like other than some kind of car crash, your chances of like randomly dying in Asia is like so low. It's like a kind of a non-issue.
Okay, so let's go back to the teaching aspect, right? Now, do you do you have to have a degree to or to teach?
You do not need a degree. I actually
Hmm.
have a list of countries
Hmm.
where you don't need a degree. You can like let me see. Like I know I saw Brazil on the list. Like this actually surprised me. So for the
Hmm.
guys who like going to Brazil, you might want
Hmm.
to research this. Like apparently in Brazil, you can get English teaching jobs without a degree. So I know a lot of
Hmm.
guys in our community really love Brazil. So you guys might
Facts.
want to hit up those English schools in Brazil next time you're like taking a trip over there. Maybe you can like prepare the ground, like send a few emails, like, "Hey, I'm gonna be in
Hmm.
Brazil next month.
Hmm.
Would you guys be open for an interview or something?" Like, but
Hmm.
a lot of Spanish speaking countries. Like I know like guys in our community really love the Spanish speaking countries. So like
Hmm.
what they got, Costa Rica. I see Costa Rica
Hmm.
on the list. Where we at? Greece, Spain, Romania, Mexico, India. I don't recommend India because I hear bad things about India, but like, that's an
Hmm.
option if you want to go there.
Hmm.
Russia, same thing for Russia. Russia's kind of crazy right now, but you got the
Hmm.
option in case you're willing to take that risk.
Hmm.
Poland, yeah, Slovakia. So basically, here's my mindset, guys. For the guys who are looking to get overseas, I think that teaching English overseas is probably the fastest way to get overseas and start making money. Like I know there
Hmm.
are lots of guys in our community. Like there are lots of guys who are studying IT. They're trying to
Hmm.
get all these certifications. They're trying to get some kind of remote job. I think that's great, but you can do all that while you're already overseas.
Hmm.
So getting an English teaching job is like I think the fastest way. You can like get out of America, you can get some money in your pocket, you'll be living an overseas life. And like in your free time, when you're not partying or going on dates, you can like study for your IT and like, you're set up some kind of remote thing. But my thing is get overseas first. Like get overseas and
Facts.
get some money in your pocket and you're
Hmm.
gonna see like, man, my quality of life, it's way better. Like, I took this job and like,
Facts.
I'm
Facts.
overseas now.
Hmm. Facts. Facts. And as far as connecting with the students, right? Because they don't speak English. I'm not sure if you speak Chinese or not, but how do you connect and really, teach the students when there's a language barrier?
Okay, so for Asia specifically, like South
Mhm.
Korea, Japan, China, these kids grow up studying English every day. So
Mhm.
when you get in the classroom, there's a pretty good chance that the students already speak a decent amount of English. So this
Mhm.
is kind of it's not really an issue when you're dealing with students who are like at least aged 10 and up. Like they can understand some English. So like you really but it might be a different situation for like the Spanish speaking countries because maybe you get into the classroom, they might not know, they might not have like the kind of English curriculum that they put on kids here in Asia. But yeah,
Mhm.
it's not really an issue for the most part. I haven't seen that unless you're teaching like really young kids. Like if you're
Mhm.
teaching young kids, they probably don't even speak their own native language that well. So that might be an issue. But yeah, it's not really an issue, y'all. Like I wouldn't worry about it too much. Like, hey, I need to be fluent in Spanish before I go over there and work. Like,
Mhm.
don't do that. Like, go get the job, and then like,
Mhm.
if the language is really important, trust me, y'all. Like, you'll learn the language a lot faster when you're inside of the country and you need to learn the language. Like, if you don't
Facts.
know, yeah, like if you don't know how to like order anything at the restaurant, or you don't know how to like call a taxi, you'll be surprised how quickly you pick up the language because you really need to learn it. Your brain's gonna be like, yeah, I need to learn this language, and
Mhm.
you'll have it in a few months. Like you'll be at least basically fluent, good enough. So don't worry about language.
You know what? That's very true because I was just thinking about this yesterday, right? Like I lived in Colombia, Brazil. Now I'm here, in each country, like I find like a older old lady that she cook cook and everything. Like I go get my food, and she's like teaching me the language. Like she's saying telling me what this means and this that. Like in every country, and like you absolutely right, like the people would teach you the language slowly but surely, and then it's some of the stuff will start to stick to your mind, right? Because every language, the pronunciation is very different, so it takes a while to kind of really soak into your mind, like, okay, I pronounce this like this. It's like the phonetics of a language, and that's one of the interesting things about living abroad. Is like, yeah, learning some of the terminology and some of the words and some of the slang and everything like that is very interesting. And when you do just mention just a few words in their language, they get super excited. Like, oh, so you speak
Yeah,
Thai? I'm like, no, I don't speak Thai, but I'm learning. It's a beautiful thing, man. You know,
yeah, yeah.
and the thing about it, like Asian languages, the letters are of course different, right, than the Latin letter that we so used to. Spanish, the letters are still the same, A, B, C, D, E, F, right? But here,
Mhm.
the characters are different, so it's very intimidating. You'll think to yourself like, man, I'm never gonna learn this language. They got different letters and different phonetics. But then slowly but surely you start to pick up on certain words and certain terms because you keep hearing it over and over again, man. So you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. And when
Yeah.
you start picking up on these languages, it's like a whole nother door opens, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like
Since I've been here in Thailand, man, I've been learning a few words in Russian, a few words in Thai. Of course, I know quite a bit of Spanish. I know some Portuguese. So it just broadens your mind to have that deep of a vocabulary, right? And you're saying different words, different phonetics, and the sounds. So you're absolutely right, man. That's another benefit of living abroad, living overseas, man. So let me ask you this: how long did it take you to kind of really pick up on the language? Was it 2 years, 3 years?
okay, so some people call Chinese like one of the most difficult languages, but I kind of disagree. Like I've
Hmm.
been learning Russian for the past 2 years, and I
Hmm.
think that Russian is like way more difficult than
Hmm.
Chinese.
Hmm.
Because like with Chinese, it's very logical. Like the language is very logical. Like for
Hmm.
example, like the word water is like 水, and then like so if I want a fruit, I say 水果. That means like
Hmm.
fruit of like some kind of like go like some kind of seed or whatever. It's like a very logical language. So like with Russian, it's just kind of like English, where it's like a bunch of random letters and words put together. We call it this. It's not really any logical reason why we call it that. Um,
Hmm.
yeah. So it took me like 3 years of study to where I got really comfortable to where like I didn't need to pull out my phone or translator anymore. Like, I was talking to women who don't even speak English, and like I was like, it was going pretty well, making jokes, and like it took me a while, but some people, if you really drill into it, like if you really, I know guys who they study for like 8 hours a day or something, and like
Mm-hmm.
they go to school and then they party after. If you do that, like if you like spend like 8 hours a day studying and you're partying, hanging out with like the local people, you can get really fluent in a year. So if you really
Mm-hmm.
drill it down, but for Spanish or those other languages, like probably 6 months, you can probably get
Facts.
to a pretty decent level. So yeah,
Mm-hmm. It's funny, man, because now I realize how easy Spanish, is in comparison to some of these other languages. I'm like, it makes Spanish seem because there's so many words that it's just like the same word, just different pronunciation from English to Spanish, right?
yeah.
So that's very true, man. That's very true. Once again, guys, I want to welcome everybody in. Okay, we got Wayne Hill in the building. We got Mike Parter. We got my boy Delano Music in the building. He's out there in Brazil. We got guys living all over the world, man. This is a very beautiful thing. So let me ask you this, man. Let's transition a little bit, because guys want to know how was the dating scene out there in China?
Oh yeah. Oh, this is a pretty interesting topic. All right, so for me, like the dating scene is pretty good, especially it took me a while to understand this, y'all. Like, so
Mm-hmm,
when a woman speaks English,
mm-hmm,
usually overseas, that makes her a little bit more westernized. So like
mm-hmm. Facts.
that can be good and bad. That can be
Facts.
good and bad, right? So it's not like if you're overseas and you don't speak the local language, you're kind of going to be stuck with the women who speak English, and those women are probably also they date foreigners. And unless you're
Mm-hmm,
in a place where like a lot of women speak English, there's a pretty good chance that those women who speak English, they're dating like, they might be dating some other guy that or like something crazy like some kind of crazy scenario. So
right.
that's why like in terms of relationships, me learning the language was really helpful because it it expanded my dating pool kind of exponentially.
Mm-hmm,
When I didn't speak Chinese, I can only date like this small pool of women who like they speak English, they want to date foreigners, maybe she's been overseas. But like when you learn the language, it kind of opens up the whole country to you. Like, like I don't have to think twice, you know, if I approach a woman, like, does she speak English? It kind of like
mm-hmm,
every woman, is your option. So
mm-hmm,
yeah, the dating scene's been really good for me here. And
mm-hmm.
yeah, I've enjoyed it. It's way better than the States, I'll tell you that.
Okay, okay. Excellent. And are the women there? Are they a little bit more conservative? Are they liberal, feminine? Like, what's how the women are?
Okay, so for my city, there's not many people in my city who speak English, so I had to learn Chinese. But for
Mm-hmm,
people in Shanghai, I hear Shanghai is like way more international. So
mm-hmm,
in terms of like having like a large pool of women who speak English and who are like, you it's like you have more choices in Shanghai. But like I said earlier, Shanghai is like way more expensive, and you got to work a lot harder in Shanghai to survive. But
mm-hmm,
in terms of like the dating choices, a lot of women in Shanghai are more international, so they probably been overseas, they probably studied abroad, they speak
mm-hmm,
English. They and even then they might not have, they maybe never dated a foreigner before. Like believe it or not, there are women who speak English and they've never actually dated a foreigner before. They just like really love
mm-hmm.
language or something. So yeah, you have more choices in a bigger city like that where they all speak. A lot of people are international. So
Okay. And which city would you suggest for guys to kind of start out with?
based on what I hear, Shanghai. My city
Mm-hmm,
is good. Like here's the thing, y'all. I love my city. I love Chengdu. It's like it fits me pretty well. I have a really nice situation here. But in terms of a guy who's like, you want to get experienced in China, you want to like get that China experience, and you don't want
mm-hmm,
any like real language barriers. Shanghai will probably treat you good. You'll have like
mm-hmm,
a lot of the Western stuff you like. People speak English. A lot of stuff to do there. Um, a lot of things. Yeah, like it'll be an easier transition than going
mm-hmm.
to any other place in China, I think, for a first timer.
Okay, okay. And I know, like when I'm headed to Cambodia, right? I do like I might get a bus or something like that, and I'm like in the countryside of Thailand. You get a few stares because they might not have seen too many black people. Is it like the same over there in China when you like walking around like, damn, what's that, like a black person? And sometimes people will pull you over and be like, they want to take photos of you and everything. They think you're a basketball player or something like that, or athlete,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, so like you're gonna get stares in China just because you're not Chinese. Like if you don't look
Mm-hmm.
Asian, they're gonna look
Mm-hmm.
at you. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like but it's usually positive. Like people are just curious. Like looking
Mm-hmm.
at it from their perspective, like they're surrounded by like Chinese people or Asian people every day. They
Mm-hmm.
never pretty much rarely get a chance to like interact with a person who isn't Chinese or like isn't Asian. So
Mm-hmm.
when they see you, it's like you're like, it's like you're fascinating to them. So like
Mm-hmm.
even like pretty much every day when I go on the street, I get people looking at me like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's okay. Like, like there are good and bad things to that. Like some people they enjoy the attention. Like it does, when you walk into the room, people are gonna look at you. And some people
Mm-hmm.
really like that. It can be that kind of thing can be useful in certain situations, like if we're talking about chicks, like if you're in a room full of Chinese people and you're the only foreigner in there, the women are gonna be looking at you at least with a little bit of curiosity. So that kind of makes
Mm-hmm.
things a little bit easier for you. So there can be good
Mm-hmm.
and bad things about the get all the attention you get just for being a foreigner.
Okay. Okay. Let me catch this super chat real quick. By Dejan. I think that's Menzez. I really appreciate that. Apologies if I pronounced your name wrong. With the $5 super chat, I really appreciate that. He says, I gotta get a consultation with you. I am going to Thailand this year. Excellent, man. Yeah, just hit me up on the email. Now let me ask you this, man. As far as do you skip around other countries, being around, in China?
Honestly, like okay, like I was in South Korea and then I
Mm-hmm.
came over to China. And
Mm-hmm.
the reason I came to China is because I know that China is so big that I knew I
Mm-hmm.
could stay here for a long time and never get bored.
Mm-hmm.
I just knew I could stay here for a long time and never get bored. So I've been in China for like almost 8 years, and like I haven't really traveled to any nearby countries. Like I used to before the virus, I would bounce back to Korea like once a year just to go party and hang out with friends. But really, like China's so diverse. Like before
Mm-hmm.
the whole situation, like with the virus back in 2020, you got so many people from surrounding countries coming into China. So
Mm-hmm.
like, like in China, like you're talking about how you were learning Russian. Like man, like there's so many like Russian girls in China. It's crazy. Like you don't need to go to
Mm-hmm.
Russia. Like there's so many Russian women over here. They
Mm-hmm.
come over here for university and like school, like all and modeling. So like,
Mm-hmm.
and like basically you got so many people from other countries coming into China that I never felt the need to go to other countries because like, it's already so diverse here.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and let's talk about the visa situation for Americans. I know it might be a different when you teach English. Do they assist you in like the visa process, or do you need a visa to live in China?
Yeah, so China's the place you definitely need a visa for. That's
Mm-hmm.
why it might be a more difficult transition for people who are first time travelers. Like,
Mm-hmm.
unless you really, really love China, I wouldn't suggest coming here as your first trip overseas because there are
Mm-hmm.
much easier countries like Thailand or like Korea or like any list of like Spanish speaking countries where you can just
Mm-hmm.
go in, you don't need to worry about a visa, and they already get like a lot of foreign travelers over there. So it's like the infrastructure is already set up for you. China doesn't get like a ton of people, like relatively, like yeah, like there are lots of foreigners who come over here, but relative to the
Mm-hmm.
population, there's not like a lot of foreigners who come over here. So their infrastructure isn't really set up as easy to like allow the integration of
Mm-hmm.
foreigners compared to places where like South Korea, they got the American military there, right? So like they're
Mm-hmm.
used to dealing with foreigners. I think Japan, like they got the military there, so like it's an easier transition to those countries. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like your school will help you set up the visa. They'll help you set
Mm-hmm.
up housing probably. Yeah, like they'll they need you here. The thing
Mm-hmm.
is they need you, so like they're gonna put a lot of effort into making sure that you get set up over here and that you can stay over here.
Okay, so for just let's say the common traveler who just want to visit China, how many days do you get upon entry?
So here's the thing. So China is just now opening its borders. Like for the
Hmm.
past 3 years, because of the
Hmm.
virus situation, they
Hmm.
did not have open borders. So now, like I think later this year, they're gonna start back reissuing um travel visas for people. And you can you can buy like a 10-year visa. They have like the 10-year visa option before they, last time I checked. And basically you can stay for like I don't know how many days and then like leave and come back and the visa is good for like 10 years. And that's specific for us Americans. So as Americans, we have that kind of, that kind of privilege.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. I want to shout out to my dude Kang Dynasty is here. He says, "Okay, for work in China is beautiful. Experience everything else is secondary and last. Okay, especially for I guess the women. All
Oh
right.
yeah.
Somebody asked, how much is the visa?
I'm not sure about the visa price, guys. Like, cause like they haven't been offering visas for the past few years. They're just gonna
Hmm.
now start restarting it. So like
Hmm.
the situation is like it's gonna be a few $100s definitely. But
Hmm.
yeah, basically as Americans we have the option of the 10-year visa if they still
Hmm.
have that on the market. And if you have that, I definitely would suggest it because China is in the center of everything. So it's very diverse here. It's very big. You come here, party, have a good time, and
Hmm.
there are Chinese people in every country. So like, if you ever feel like learning Chinese, you're gonna have
Hmm.
like a lot of opportunities to practice it because Chinese people are everywhere.
Okay, and now you've been there this whole entire time. Like, was it difficult being there as a foreigner during the pandemic?
Honestly, like I think I got really, really lucky because
Hmm.
I heard about other people having like terrible lockdowns and situations, but like I only heard about that in Shanghai. I guess they don't really care too much about my city. Cause like look, when you watch the media is gonna tell you like the absolute worst thing, and they're gonna make it seem like everyone here is like suffering. And that's not the situation at all.
Hmm.
Pretty much any news that you see, especially about China, I
Hmm.
would guess about 20 to 30% of it is completely exaggerated and like not true to reality at all. So keep that in
Well.
mind whenever you hear any news about, any crazy news about a foreign country. My lifestyle here has been great, like I made more money during the pandemic than I was making before. Like I got more job opportunities.
Hmm.
I had more I just got more opportunities. Like my lifestyle here has been pretty great.
Hmm.
It was pretty annoying needing to wear a mask and needing to like
Hmm.
scan a barcode whenever we go into places.
Hmm.
But recently, like in the past 2 months, they got rid of that. Like there was a big protest that happened, and like they got rid of all that barcode and wearing a mask stuff. They got rid of it like that, like really quickly. So I was like, dang, like I thought I was
Hmm.
gonna leave China because I was getting kind of bored here. Like I was like, dang, I'm tired of wearing a mask. But now it's
Hmm.
like they got rid of all that. People are traveling now. Like I got coworkers who are going back to America and they're traveling back and forth. So it's like,
Hmm.
hey, China seems like it's coming back to normal. I think I could stay here for a while. I think I can keep
Hmm.
staying here because it's comfortable here. I have like a really comfortable life situation here.
Hmm. Hmm. And it's funny because they just recently opened up their borders, like what, like maybe 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, yeah. So like
Hmm.
people were quick. Like people were quick to hop on those planes. Like I got
Hmm.
friends who are in Thailand right now.
Right, right,
Yeah,
yeah.
like
A lot of them came to Thailand.
yeah, yeah. So I'm looking forward to that too. I'm gonna take a trip over there.
Yeah, man. Thailand is nice. It's a very nice vibe out here. I wouldn't lie to you.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah, that's
somebody
good.
mentioned
That's good.
something about they are shutting down teaching English for foreigners. Have you heard anything about that?
So here's the thing, y'all. Like I said earlier, the demand for English teaching is so high in China that they were hiring a bunch of people who like don't even really speak English, and like they were
Hmm.
putting them on like kind of fake visas, like fake student visas, just so that they could teach at the school. Like that's been going on forever in China. And like the government is like, they want to put less pressure on the kids. So like a lot of people, like a lot of these kind of non-native speakers, they kind of
Hmm.
lost their jobs because like the government's more strict. Like, hey, like you've been here for 10 years on a student visa. You got to get out
Hmm.
of here. Like, it's like you can't be doing that. Like you're over here making money and like all this kind of like not super legal stuff that people were doing. But
Mhm.
for people with legit like jobs, that's completely fine. But China's kind of like an extreme case, guys. Like China's like an extreme case where like the government cares a lot about like the education system, and they're like always kind of tweaking with it. Other countries are
Mhm.
way more relaxed.
Mhm.
So when I'm talking about English teaching today, I'm talking about you guys find the country that you're interested in, or find a country that you're interested in, and apply for jobs. Apply for English teaching jobs and see
Mhm.
what kind of feedback that you get. You might find out like, hey, like, this country right here, I've heard pretty good things about it, and they're offering
Mhm.
me a job. I can make enough money to live over there, have a pretty good
Mhm.
life, and it's pretty chill there. Go do that. Like, don't focus too much on like the kind of, China's kind of an extreme case. Like I'm still in China because I've been here for like 8 years and my situation is kind of really comfortable. But
Mhm.
for first time people, it probably would be a difficult transition. So that's why I'm
Mhm.
suggesting other countries where like, it's probably a lot more chill, a lot more relaxed, and like you might, like you can sip pina coladas on the beach every evening or whatever. Like, maybe pick one of those countries as like your first country if you're trying to do this English teaching thing.
Okay. And as far as like entrepreneurship in China, do they allow foreigners to open up businesses there or?
Yeah, so the people that I know who've opened businesses in China,
Mhm.
you can do it. It's just like a pain in the neck, like
Mhm.
they make it kind of difficult. Like a lot of guys that I know, they had to marry a Chinese woman in order to
Mhm.
help them like with the paperwork. Because the
Mhm.
paperwork is like apparently a lot easier when you're married to a local person. So a lot of people
Mhm.
they just have this kind of business arrangement with like a local woman, like, hey, like we'll get married and like, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, there
Mhm.
is entrepreneurship here. Do I recommend starting a business in China? Not really. I would suggest waiting to see how things play out because you
Mhm.
never know. Like China's a crazy place. Like, things change
Mhm.
every year. But
Mhm.
I suggest like taking it slow. And yeah, but in terms of like being set up here, like if you have like some kind of remote thing that you're doing, like working from your computer, my city, I had lots of like before the pandemic, I had lots of friends who were working from their computer, living a good life here for like, not expensive money, and like they're making like their American dollars, and you're living pretty good here. So that's what I
Mhm.
suggest. It's a great place to maybe work remotely or have your business set up remotely, I think.
Okay. And China is like a big manufacturing country, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay, and do you see any opportunities like to maybe do some shipping and export? Like, can you get like belts or apparel for the low out there, and maybe start some type of company and shipping everything back to America? Because I actually had a friend of mine, um, him and his father had a business similar to that. They did something with belts, and
Mm,
my friend moved to China, and I guess it's like an area in China or a certain street that have all these factories and warehouses, and you can
mm.
buy belts, leather belts for like $1 or $2, and then you can sell them back in America. Is there opportunities like that out there?
Yeah, there's tons of opportunities in terms of manufacturing. I think the area you're talking about is like
Hmm.
Guangzhou, Guangdong,
Hmm.
that area. That's where
Hmm.
like a lot of the people I know who are in the import and export, they're in that
Hmm.
area. So yeah, like there's lots of opportunities. There might be like, America and China, they have been having some kind of trade war. So like there might be new taxes that you might have to take into account when you're like importing and exporting. But in
Hmm.
terms of like getting stuff made with factories, yeah, like there are lots of factories here. Like I have lots of Chinese friends. Like one of their relatives is like a factory boss or something. Like there's lots of opportunities for that kind of thing.
Hmm. Okay, excellent, excellent. And as far as let's just say that 'cause you say you had a different a background than actually teaching, is it a hard transition to go from let's just say an engineer or IT guy to actually make that transition to actually teaching kids? Was that difficult?
So for me, I taught kids in South Korea.
Hmm.
Honestly, I'm not a fan of teaching kids, but
Hmm.
teaching kids is where a lot of the money is. Like
Hmm.
if you want to stack up crazy money, teaching kids is kind of where it's at.
Hmm.
For me, I teach university, so like most of my students are over the age of 18. I prefer that
Hmm.
age range because like they're just easier to they're easier to deal with. Like you can talk to them, have a conversation with them, like they're adults. So
Hmm.
I just prefer that kind of age range. And honestly, engineering was like super difficult. Like engineering was like the most difficult thing I've ever done in my life. Like getting that
Hmm.
engineering degree.
Hmm.
Everything after that is like not difficult. Like teaching
Hmm.
English, like as a teacher in Asia, or you're the boss. So like you don't
Hmm.
really have to be stressed out about anything. Like I say, hey, we're doing this. All right, study this with your partner, etc. Like you get like a lot of respect here as a teacher, and it's pretty chill. Like I'm not stressed out at all at my job. Like it's super chill.
Okay, okay. And as far as let's just say transportation, right? Is it difficult to move around? Do you get taxis, Ubers? Do you drive? What's going on with the transportation out there in China?
Transportation, like my city is really awesome because my city is flat. So
Hmm.
like we got like lots of bicycles. Like you can pay like what 20 cent, and you can like rent a bicycle for like I don't know how long. And like we got
Hmm.
lots of those around the city. So it's fun to just like ride the bicycle around. And you can walk around. Some people like to skateboard. We got like the car service where you can call a car. Like it's like the Uber. We got that here. Like we got the
Hmm.
Chinese version here. So and we got metro. We got like the take the underground subway. They got buses. We got everything you need, y'all. Like in terms of transportation, like China,
Hmm.
like Asia takes care of its citizens. Like Asia makes it so that the average person, like you get where you want to go, and like they just set up society to where things work. They set it up, like you can use the app, you can order food, like it comes straight to your apartment, straight to your door. Like it's just super convenient here. Everything.
Okay. And I got a question here from Jay Selly. If you guys want to ask some questions, because we're gonna go ahead and wrap up the show, go ahead and put them in the chat. He asks, "How much does an ECL make as far as estimate? Like around how much?"
Okay, good question. So like there are different kinds of jobs, y'all. So for example, I work as a university teacher. I
Hmm.
make less money than a high school teacher, but
Hmm.
I work way less hours than a high school teacher. Like as a
Hmm.
university teacher, I work like I work 2 days a week. I work Monday and Tuesday. So that's it.
Oh, wait, well,
And I
hold
got
on, hold
5 days.
on, hold on. You only work 2 days out the week.
Yeah, I only work 2 days out a week. And right now, I'm on vacation. So like I got like a 2 month vacation that I'm on right now. That's like,
Hmm.
I'm just chilling. So like I make less money than a high school teacher, but I got tons of free time. I got tons of
Hmm.
vacation time, and my work is really chill. So for me, I look at it as like a lifestyle thing. Like I can make enough money as a university teacher, and I can also have tons of free time. As a high school teacher, you probably can make like what $3,000 a month, 4,000.
Hmm.
For university, you can make about half of that, but you don't in my city, it's like not expensive. Like I told you, like it's not expensive, like and you got all these benefits. Like I got
Hmm.
like 4 months of vacation a year. So like,
Hmm.
and I only work 2 days a week. So like I can like travel around, do what I want. But yeah, I wouldn't focus exclusively on the money, guys, unless you really,
Hmm.
really need money. If you
Hmm.
really, really need money, then yeah, like there are lots of jobs here. They'll pay you like a really high amount of money. You're gonna have to work a lot harder, but you can find that. For me, I suggest like I like to relax and like enjoy life. So like I got like a more chill job with lots of vacation time. So that's the kind of lifestyle I prefer.
Okay, and I have another question from Dejan Menzes. He says, "How much money do you need to make for a good quality of life in China?"
Okay, great question. So it depends on like what part of China you're in. From my part
Mhm.
of China, if you're making $800 a month, you're good. Like you can have an apartment, you can like
Wow,
party, eat out.
eight hundred dollars a month.
Yeah, like like my apartment, I think is like I got my converter right here. Let me just take a second right here. It's like 3103100. So I pay about $456 a month in rent. So
Hmm.
like, and the food in my city is very cheap. The food in my city is like crazy cheap. So like
Hmm.
really, you could live. And my apartment, you could easily find an apartment for half my price and like a little bit further from the city center. So like real
Hmm.
talk, guys, like you can like live really good in my part of China for like 700, $800 a month, and you probably still have money left over. If you want to like party and if you want to like kind of live it up, I'd say like 1,000, I guess. Like, if you like buying drinks, like you out buying drinks for your friends, like going on
Hmm.
dates. Yeah, I
Hmm.
guess 1,000 could be good. That's like a baseline for like a guy like for a guy in our community who wants like live that kind of overseas like lifestyle of enjoying life, yeah, $1,000, sure.
Okay, and I have another question by Own Trackman with the $5 super chat. I really appreciate that. He says, if you are a dark skinned brother in China, would they look at you harshly?
Oh, that's a good question. So this is like an interesting topic because
Hmm.
like it's not straightforward, y'all. Like it's not like you're a dark skinned person, people are gonna look at you like it's not like just one type of person. So for example, like who's like a person like, okay, all right, here's a good example. Like, ASAP Rocky, like that rapper ASAP Rocky, right?
Right.
I found out when I first came to Chengdu, a lot of Chinese girls, like in my city, a lot of girls study like hip hop dance. There are a lot of girls
Hmm.
who study like dancing, like they do all kind of hip hop dance stuff. Like that's a really big thing in China. So a lot of young women under the age of 25 or whatever, they studying hip hop dance. And I discovered that apparently like a lot of women, like they think that ASAP Rocky is like really handsome. They think he's like, in terms of like he has like really cool hair and like he has, his skin is darker. So like
Hmm.
that goes to show you that it's not like, like I can't explain. I'm not a woman. I can't explain why like, certain Chinese girls like they find ASAP Rocky really physically attractive. I don't
Hmm.
know because he's not super tall as based on what I know, but he's like he has cool hair,
Hmm.
good skin, like, handsome smile. Girls like him.
Hmm.
So like it's not cut and dry. It's not like cut and dry. Like, yeah, in Asia they prefer whiter skin, but it's
Hmm.
not that simple. That
Hmm.
doesn't mean that a white person is always going to get the girl instead of like a black person. It doesn't work that way. Like
Hmm.
women are way more complicated than that. Like it's not as simple. Like for men we're pretty simple. Like, we like what we like physically and it's like okay. But for women it's like a mix of things. It's like your whole look. So,
Hmm.
yeah, so like basically it just depends on your look, man. Like if you're out there, you got good style, like, you take care of your hygiene, like you're in the gym, you take care of yourself, like you can, like they're gonna look at you like, like they're gonna think you're like, wow, like that guy's like, he's got it together, like, so
Hmm.
it just depends on how you present yourself. It's not like um yeah, I mean I get the question. Like you're basically asking like what does it mean like to be black in China or dark skinned person or whatever.
Hmm.
But the answer is like super complicated. It just depends on you and like the way you present yourself and your look, like your skin could be really dark, but like okay, like if you like have a good body and like you have good fashion and you take care of yourself, you might, you'll probably pull more women than like some kind of white guy who's like doesn't take care of himself and he's kind of sloppy, like like
Hmm.
yeah, that's my answer, y'all. Is gotta try it. You gotta show the world your best self. Like show the world your best self, and you're gonna see that the way people treat you, they probably gonna treat you pretty good. Like
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because a lot of people don't understand that. In America, we like race polarized, right? You white, you black. Everybody kind of stays. I mean, we intermingle a lot. But overseas, you're a foreigner.
yeah,
Like the first thing they're gonna say is, I think they say barang or farang here, which is foreigner, right? Like if you go
yeah,
to Cambodia, first thing the kids be like farang, barang. You're like, foreigner, foreigner, right?
yeah,
So that's the thing. Like you just American at this point, regardless if you're white or black, you're a foreigner. You're American. It's not just
yeah,
so race, you know, uh, race, like that. I got another
yeah.
one from GCLA with a $5 super chat. I really appreciate that. He says, "What about dark skin from another country like Africa? So what if you're African?"
Like it's hard to say like okay like dark skin like because it's not that simple. Like it's not like
Mhm.
okay you're dark skinned so people are always going to treat you this way. It doesn't work like that. Like especially when you're hanging out with like younger people. Like unless you're hanging out with like kind of old people who are like okay, here's the thing, y'all. Older people, no matter what country you go to, older people, in my experience, are usually a little bit more racist. So if you're
Mhm.
hanging out with kind of people who are over the age of like 50 or 60, there's a pretty good chance that their way of thinking is probably you as Americans, we might consider it to be a little bit kind of racist. But if you're hanging out
Mhm.
with younger people, like,
Mhm.
like a lot of people here, like, we're going to be in the club, we're going to be partying, we're going to be talking to beautiful women. Like, we're not going to be talking to the types of people who like really care about like the kind of stuff that you're talking about probably. So for example, like I have a friend named Ian. he's like he's from where he's from. Dang, I forgot the place he's from. But basically he's from somewhere in Africa. And
Hmm.
basically, Ian's darker skin. He's from Mozambique. He's from
Hmm.
Mozambique.
Okay.
And basically, he's tall guy. He's like a little bit taller than me. He's like 6'2". Um, he has like really cool hair, like dreads, and he has like a baby face. And like girls like him, because he's like, he's tall and cute, and he like girls like him. So it's not like
Hmm.
you're dark skinned, they're gonna treat you a certain way. Like it doesn't work that way, y'all. It's like a mix of stuff. Like like you might not be very tall. Like for example, a guy might not be very tall, but he knows how to dress. He like knows how to talk to women. He's gonna do very good with women because he has things going for him. So you don't need to be like the perfect ideal overseas, especially in Asia. You don't need to be like the perfect ideal to have a good life here. You can like just
Hmm.
try your best. Like show the world your best self. Present the
Hmm.
best you that you can do. And you'll see like you get like amazing results in life.
You're absolutely right, man. It's conversation is everything. What they say,
Yeah.
conversation rule the nation, or something like that, right? Like
I mean,
just having the dialogue, being able to communicate with a woman, and you're interesting because you're not from there. That's number one, right?
mm,
Like you're from thousands of miles away, so that piques people's interest. I know in Colombia, at least when I was in Colombia, the thing was like, hey, you want to learn English? They say, yeah, okay, I want to learn Spanish. Let's connect. Let's do a language exchange. Same way in Brazil. Like, okay, let's do some
yeah.
language exchange. And that, of course, that brings dialogue and communicating with each other. Then they ask certain words because you can get an app like, Duolingo and stuff like that. You can do YouTube, but it's nothing like actually learning the language from a local, right? And they can teach you like,
Mm.
okay, this is what this means. You're not going to find that on the app or anything like that. All right. I got another question real quick before we go by Khalil. He says, what do they think about America?
Okay, so this is interesting, y'all. Like, so up to the years, like, until recently, China
Hmm.
was like super like nationalistic. Like they were like, yeah, China, we're becoming more rich and powerful, and like we're gonna overtake America. So like there were some people, but this is like older people. Like when I was hanging out with like business people in China, it's like older people who care about this kind of stuff. Like
Hmm.
nationalism and like we want to overtake America. Like a young beautiful girl is not thinking about this kind of stuff that we're talking about. Like um, like politics and all this other stuff. So yeah, for older people, they might be more nationalistic. For younger
Hmm.
people, seems like they're not very nationalistic at all. Like, you guys saw the protests that were going on. Like, that was mostly young people. Like the young people here. I probably can't say too much, but I'm gonna say that you know, uh, they might not be 100% behind the leaders of this country. So
Hmm.
take that as you will.
Okay. And last question. Was it what specifically led you to want to live overseas? Was it like an incident? Like, why did you want to move abroad?
I mean, I think I've shared this story in like one of my past a video I just posted.
Hmm.
Like I kind of just grew up like not fitting in. Like I don't know whether it was me or I'm just kind of socially awkward, but I think the
Hmm.
fact is that I grew up overseas as a kid, so it kind of made me like I missed out on like a lot of like kind of programming that a lot of other people have at a young age. So when I came back to America, I just had a hard time fitting in with people. And when I was in university, as an engineer, I had to study a lot. So like there were lots of like international students in the library that I would meet, and like you see like the beautiful foreign girls who are studying abroad there. And my mom always told me like I should visit South Korea because she lived in South Korea for 5 years. Like the military put my mom in South Korea for like 5 years. So my whole
Hmm.
life I had all these like Korean. My mom had all these Korean dolls around the house and stuff, and she always told me like you got to go to South Korea, you got to travel.
Hmm.
So when I was in university, like you see like beautiful foreign girls, and you're like, hey, I can get a job overseas, like and I can like and I was in Arkansas, by the way. Like I went to university in Arkansas, so like it's kind of like like I was kind of not super excited to stay in Arkansas, so I think I wanted to just kind of like go someplace different, and it was like an easy transition. Like, hey, they set everything up for you. Like you said earlier, they give you the house, apartment, they give you
Hmm.
stable paycheck. they set everything up for you. All you gotta do is get on the plane, and that's how you do it, y'all. So you want to get overseas, y'all, just go for it. Like apply for that job and just take that jump. And who knows, like a month from now, maybe 3 months from now, you could be overseas making money. And that's why I say teaching English probably the fastest way to get overseas making money. So that's what I
Mhm.
recommend to you guys.
Okay, excellent, excellent. Real quick before we go, we got GCLA here. Hold on, he says something. I'm not really sure about the statement. He says, "Bro looks to look." How that happened? I'm not sure what that. You know, understand what he's saying? Bro looks to
I think
look.
that's a compliment. I think he's giving like a compliment. Like, yeah, I like
Okay.
my style changed a lot, guys. So like in
Hmm.
China, clothing, you can get really good clothing in China. Like you got like lots of like, choices. So like my
Hmm.
closet is like packed with stuff. Like I got more shoes and I got clothes I haven't worn in like 2 years in my closet. I just got too many clothes because like
Hmm.
over here the shopping is like crazy. Like I saw a video that Austin Holloman he posted like yesterday. He was getting
Hmm.
like some kind of custom made hat in
Hmm.
Thailand, and like it cost him like $12 or something like that. And
Hmm.
like that gives you an idea of like the clothing situation overseas in in Asia specifically, but pretty much any country where they focus on manufacturing as part of their economy, you can probably get really high quality stuff um for like not super expensive. So yeah,
Hmm.
man.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Appreciate that super chat. GCLA. All right. Somebody asked, are there tailor made clothes over there?
Yes, 100%, y'all. Like,
Hmm.
you get everything. Like, you can get cut. Okay, let me tell you this interesting story. Like, I was in South Korea. In South Korea, they have this area called Itaewon. That's where a
Hmm.
lot of the foreigners hang out. So,
Hmm.
like, I was still living in South Korea at that point. I was preparing to come over to China. I was just walking down the street. This old Korean guy, he's like in his 50s. He approaches me and say, "Hey man, like you want to come look at my coats, man? I got these like, I have my like clothing store down here." And I was like, "Why not? I'm just walking down the street. Why not?" I go down to his store, and he has pictures of Bill Clinton and his brother on the wall. So apparently Bill Clinton, his brother, had gone to South Korea during Bill Clinton's presidency. And he had bought like a crazy number of suits, like something like 100 suits or something like that from this
Hmm.
guy. So this guy
Hmm.
was like a big supporter of like Bill Clinton and like his whole presidency. So like for me, I'm from Arkansas, so I'm in a foreign country. When I walk into a room and I see pictures of like Bill Clinton, I'm like, whoa, like what? That's crazy because Bill
Hmm.
Clinton's from Arkansas anyway. And
Hmm.
yeah, and basically like this guy like he's really very charismatic. He convinced me to like I bought like four custom made sports coats from him. And these are like
Hmm.
really high quality sports coats, guys. Like I was like, dang, like and I probably paid a lot of money. Like I paid $500 a coat, so like
Hmm.
$2,000 total. But these are like really high quality custom made sports coats that I still wear to this day. Like I got them. They're like super high quality, y'all. You can
Hmm.
probably find good quality for a lot cheaper. But in
Hmm.
terms of like custom made just for you, it's hard to beat Asia because like they do manufacturing really
Hmm.
well over here. So it's really
Hmm.
difficult for other countries who don't have that kind of manufacturing infrastructure to compete.
Hmm. Okay, and you have a YouTube channel. You want to give us a shout out on YouTube channel and what your YouTube channel is about?
Oh yeah, so like my YouTube channel is called Dixonski, Dixonskii. And
Hmm.
recently we were doing like these kind of mukbang eating a lot of food things, but now like we're going to get into more commentary because there's a lot of stuff going on in the travel community that I really want to talk on. And like I
Right,
think YouTube
right.
is yeah, like
Yeah, yeah, right.
there's a lot of stuff going on. Like, I feel like they're trying to paint a narrative about us traveling black men that is not
Mm-hmm.
true. Like they're saying like a
Facts.
lot of inaccurate things about us. And you can even see like with the Austin Holloman situation, they came for him, and like it's really unfortunate that people want to see someone fail. Like it's really sad that we got people who are like praying for his downfall. He's just a young guy overseas trying to like experience a new life, and you got
Right.
people like trying to take you down. Like I think that's really terrible what people are trying to
Mm-hmm.
do. And I just really want to speak on this kind of stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
YouTube is a good platform for like sharing your opinion. And So I plan on posting like a lot of videos this year. Like we're gonna like grow the channel, or we're investing in like a better like filming setup. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just really excited to put out content, and I want to inspire more, specifically Black American men.
Mm-hmm.
Black men in general are good. Like, folk, I know I come from America, and I understand the struggles of Black American men. So I really
Mm-hmm.
want to focus on like getting more Black American men to like explore their life overseas, like to go for new experiences. I really want guys to like get, because for me, living overseas, I never would have had this quality of life if I had stayed in America. Like I talk to guys
Mm-hmm.
all the time who are the same age as me, like they're probably smarter than I am, but their quality of life in America just isn't what they deserve a lot more. And I know
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of guys like that. They just don't know that this is an option. That's why I'm
Mm-hmm.
on here today. I'm sharing like, hey y'all, like this is an easy way for you to get overseas and start making some money. And from there, you can go like you can gradually improve your lifestyle setup, but the first step is just getting overseas, and that's why I've been sharing this English teaching thing. And I'm really grateful for you to allow me on this platform. I really enjoy watching your videos, especially the recent videos about like the overseas business. That's when I reached
Mm-hmm.
out to you, and I was like, hey, like maybe we can like
Yes,
do
sir.
like some kind of talk about this. And yeah, man, I'm just really grateful. Like your community is amazing. Like I really enjoy posting there, and yeah, I'm just I want us all to live our best life and show the world our best self, because a lot of people, they might not want the world to see us in our best light. So we got to make sure that
Mm-hmm.
we always present ourselves in the best way.
And I have I did a show a couple of days ago about this. I said, years ago, as far as the Austin situation, being on Fox News, we had no type of pushback, right? Like it was just one narrative. Okay, these black
Yeah.
men are doing this overseas. But now we can control our own image because of the internet. So
Mm.
you have hundreds of other videos, dispelling that narrative and say, hey man, that's not true. Wait a minute. Let me do a video. Let me do a video. Let's shed some, the truth and put a positive light, because right now it's like the Salem witch hunt trials, right? One guy
Yeah.
who's not affiliated or associated with anybody does anything wrong, and that's a passport, bro. All of a sudden,
Mm.
like any crime committed
Yeah.
overseas, it's a passport, bro. No,
Mm.
being a passport, bro, is just the ideology, all right? For whatever
Yeah.
reason you travel out the country is your specific reason, but it's just men that want to travel for various reasons to be able to live their lives and have a different lifestyle, right? We're not in the 50s and 60s any longer where we have to go to a brick and mortar job anymore. We can travel. We have the internet. The world's becoming smaller. And because of that, we just have way more opportunities and we can expand our options, man. So once again, brother, appreciate you coming on the show. We're going to do another one real soon because I know you want to talk about some other things as far as the opening up businesses and manufacturing, man. But great interview. Appreciate you coming on, bro.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much, man. Thank you all so much for watching us, and I hope some of you out there take action on this. Like, I really want you guys to take action. I heard some people in the chat group, they were asking for my channel link. Maybe we could
Yeah.
post that. But like, basically, if you want to
Mm-hmm.
reach out to me, actually, do I need this? I'll send it to you over like yeah. But anyway, you guys can post that. But yeah, y'all, like,
Yeah,
reach out to
I'll
me if
pin
you
your
have any
channel
questions
at the
about
top of the chat. I'll pin your channel.
that. Okay, cool, cool. And yeah, y'all
Okay.
just, if you have any questions, reach out to me. Like, I really think like getting overseas, like you don't have to be stressed out in America, y'all. Like, you can live a good
Mm-hmm.
life over here. And my quality of life, I'm really happy where I'm at right now. So I want to see the same thing for y'all. So, reach out to me. You have any questions, hit me up. Yeah, and yeah,
All right, man. Peace.
yeah, see ya.